welcome back to Savannah by Night, our Vampire the Masquerade game here on Knights of Silvermoon. It is by no means our only game. We do have an Age of Myth Dungeons and Dragons game on Thursdays,
Innovation.
and an ongoing Star Wars game, which I believe we're having another one very soon, Martel.
Next Friday, not this
Next
one.
Friday. Fantabulous. And Dreamy, do you still have your Tuesday?
I do still have my Tuesday game over on Top Down Tabletop. Sorry, I have a new Twitch right now and it's called I Have a Cast and it's itchy, so just ignore me just doing this all night long. We're playing a D&D game. We have successfully infiltrated our neighboring enemy country and are now starting to try to gather intel.
Do we have any other announcements coming up?
If you look up Smoguls Games on YouTube, I have the first episode of a new series out where I'm playing the Sniper Elite games. First time through Iron Man mode. No, I'm not Tony Stark, but it means that I only have one life to do all the missions in. There will be a second episode, so spoiler alert for how the first episode goes, but there is a second episode coming out this week.
I haven't gotten too far into it yet, but I did rather enjoy what that brain jiggle do.
We're jiggling brains?
If you want to know what that means, you should watch the video.
Fair.
The jello is outside that cup. But if there's nothing else, let's tell the vampire story, shall we?
Oh, there
Huh?
was one more thing.
Uh-oh.
No, it's fine. Kitty and I have been talking sponsorships for the stream.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
So before the intro video today, Kitty did put together like an example on what the sponsorship would kind of look like and what a sponsor video would look like.
Yes.
So Graham, if you could just have the stream up and make sure you're watching with the sound on, just to make sure the sponsor video like looks good and all that. Might as well prove it live, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Do it live.
with that, let's tell a vampire story.
What is going through Max's head right now? His mind?
It's something along the lines of fuck, shit, fuck.
I'm so sorry. What is actually going through Max's mind right now is a 45 caliber hollow point as his final thoughts are scattered along the floor. His hopes and dreams, childhood memories, painting the wall.
I think there's a bit of nerves with actually going that far with it.
Well, you know what we say on this channel. Admit your bullshit.
My trade was in gathering secrets and blackmailing people for them.
It's important to realize that wealth isn't just money, it's information.
Without breaking stride, taps the top of it, and I cannot resist this. This bad boy can fit so many gadgets in it. An eruption of mismatched, misaligned adult teeth haunts her little face like the ossified ghost of a future she will never have.
Bruh.
Ring around the rosy, pocket full of posies. Petra swoops in and smoothly puts her hand over Yvette's and pushes it back down. One of mine, dearie, walk away. There is this sneering look between the two of them. And then Yvette just goes, another time, Tabby. Seems your dance card's full. Let me know when you lose the hag. And she heel turn snaps and walks away.
While Sokolov warned that they could be a liability, They could also be a low-level inn to a wide variety of clans. And building relationships now can set up the board far in the future for deals and opportunities.
That's my fresh-faced adventure, everyone.
I feel like I just got a gold star.
You just haven't had it taken away. Last time, on Savannah by Night. Back at Chuck's bar, Cora flagged down Bill, where she slyly confided that she needed something to eat. The ever-affable Bill was all too happy to join her in a walk in order for her to find some local foods to try, completely unaware that she was simply making her own meal. Have a recovery snack once her appetite had been sated. Kate, meanwhile, practiced what she had been preaching to her fellow neonates by simply getting up from the group's table and chatted up a meal option with the potential to become a recurring dinner date. Poppy managed to coax Heidi into joining her at the bar, but, perhaps more impressively, had managed to keep the mortal from overlapping with the members of her prospective coterie by simply taking her on a small, scenic walk of River Street. The two discussed the joys and heartaches of art school, prompting Heidi to reveal an assignment that's been eating at her nerves, where she is required to find a venue that will host a showcase of her art. A challenge all on its own without the further complication of the salacious nature of her particular focus. Artem met back up with Chris in the bar, as she was just riding the high of her most recent feed. Though perhaps he was just a bit too happy to see that she was fine and not had gotten out of hand while left to her own devices in public. Chris was swift to give him grief over the perceived slight that she needed a babysitter. But as things calmed down with new bloods regrouping at a booth, Artem joined in the running joke of pilfering each other's phones, and it got a bit more than he expected when he saw a text Kate had sent someone about how terrible the previous night was. As Ellie and Tabby arrived back in the Warrens from their most recent adventure in shoplifting, Lila pulled them both aside to effectively requisition them for an upcoming yet ill-defined heist. She quickly assured them that she would be the person in the van and be in their ears the whole time. Having assessed their strengths and shortcomings, Lila was quick to assign Ellie under her own wing in order to have someone with computer skills on site, while she herself would be busy coordinating. Tabby, on the other hand, was given the means to both practice her lockpicking and far better tools to do the job. Tabby then diligently brought news of this upcoming job back to her primogen, Mason, who informed her of her next steps, namely, getting to know the others involved in this little operation. Then, as a housewarming gesture, Mason gave her a ship in a bottle they had been working on, a replica of the ship that brought to the 13th colony the very man who founded it in the first place. Ellie, meanwhile, was summoned by their own self-proclaimed overseer in order to give an update on the directive they had been given. No thanks or applause was given, merely further instruction. Now, while the night is nearly over, we do have one small scene to finish off before we start our new evening. Artem, you and Chris were on the way back to the house. You know that you left the house in a uncertain air. Is there anything that you wish to discuss or ask of Chris now? Or are you saving your conversation for when you get back to the house?
Yeah, so start by asking Chris, so coterie. Seems like they were all pretty excited about it, but maybe you knew something they didn't.
I've never been in one. I just heard it said. I know a few people who are in one.
It seems like it's more than just a social club.
For some it is. But for most people, these are the people that you have plans for world domination with. People you kill for, kill with, hide the bodies for. Or for some, like Jolene, just your fellow delinquents.
Which one is Jolene?
I don't know if you met her. She brought Max here.
Oh, really? Is she the Bruja you talked about?
Yeah. She's fun. She's kind of a bitch, though. Which is part of why she's fun, but that's a whole other thing.
Yeah. Hey, if you can get us invited to some of those Bruja parties, maybe I could meet her.
Are you interested in her?
I've never even seen her, but I'm interested in getting out and meeting more people.
I'll see what I can do. She's not the
Cool.
chattiest, but...
Neither am I. Maybe that'll work out.
Or maybe you'll just be silent fuck buddies. Who knows?
Maybe.
But people get into a lot of trouble around that word.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like.
For some, it just invites complication. For others, it's the only way they make it through the night. I used to think that maybe it was like that with me, Harlan, and Lewis, but not really.
They don't seem like bad guys. Well,
They're
I don't
not.
know. I don't know about Lewis, but Harlan doesn't.
No, but they're more they're too well, maybe not Lewis, but Harlan's too normal.
Hmm.
They're not involved in all the other shit going on.
I guess you kind of have to be, huh?
Yes and no. Being our clan, we kind of get a little more isolated than most if we want to be.
Yeah. I'm
But
kind of into that.
yeah, unfortunately, Alden.
Yeah. What do you want, Chris? Take Alden out of the picture.
You see her almost freeze in place for a moment. Like the question was not just unexpected, but inconceivable. And after that initial freeze, she tries to almost sink into the seat, as if she could just find the right crack, she'll slip out of the car entirely.
You don't have to say anything if you don't want to.
What I want, I can't have.
Hmm.
And at this point, she's not making any eye contact whatsoever. It almost seems like she's avoiding eye contact with herself as she's staring out the window.
Maybe part of this whole thing we're doing is we find something else.
She kind of nods, but again, she's not looking away from the window. But you get that gesture of her raising a sleeve to wipe out an eye. And in relatively short order, you are pulling up to the house. His truck is parked. You can see the boat moored. Good indication that he's home.
Well, hopefully, I'll see you in the morning. Evening.
Yeah. There's that dull thud of the car door closing. You almost expected a slam, but she doesn't. And she heads on into the house.
Artem will, put the car in the garage, cover it up, do all that stuff. He'll do it himself because he's
Barn, but yeah.
barn. Yeah, sorry.
Yep.
Barrage. Uh, doing it himself because he's kind of, just letting the time go. Then he walks out. Is there anyone there to meet him?
No. Does he head to his Sort of small guest house.
No, he's just gonna go find Alden. Has to tell him that he
Mhm.
got himself roped into something really stupid tomorrow. So he's not gonna be able to work on the house as much.
Okay. You head in. You had earlier in the evening set a few things down in the sort of main foyer where the staircase is.
Mm-hmm.
He is in the front den reading a book. He kind of pulls down his reading glasses. Again, I want you to consider the monstrous quality of this man in his, well, not a three-piece suit, but the dress pants, the dress shirt and vest, and now reading glasses. Looks at you. Closes the book. Cover down so you can't see the title.
I'm gonna get that fucking book one day. Quiet Night.
Say that again, sorry?
Quiet Night
You tell me.
was for me.
How about for her?
As a mouse.
He gestures over to the adjacent chair.
Goes and sits.
Calculated risk tonight, wasn't it?
It was.
Do you consider yourself good at math?
I do.
Pays a glance, almost trying to peer through the ceiling, knowing that she's back in the house. You haven't been here very long. She has her ups and downs. Perhaps this is an upswing. And you got lucky. Or there's progress for once. But we can't find out if she's always shackled up in here. So on your head, if you think she is capable of a little unsupervision in the right places, I will take your word for it. But you understand what that means.
I like my head just the way it is.
Then we understand one another.
I've got too many people I need to see again. I'm not planning on taking unnecessary risks.
Well, for your sake, let's hope you're right. and he barks her name loud enough that it almost feels as though you don't have to worry about the next tornado knocking the house down.
Kind of looks around at some of the work he's done, like, God damn it.
Now, you've known her to be living out loud and even a little bit sassy towards him at times. Not to the point of like a petulant teenager, but just pushing that envelope a tiny bit. And you can hear those footsteps are timid as they're coming down the stairs. Now, that might be because you've ripped up the stairs a little bit, so she has to be a little more careful. But you've also seen her just take 2 or 3 steps at a time, jump it, as if the banister is a suggestion rather than an OSHA requirement. But she very timidly sort of peers around the corner. Uh-huh. He reaches into his pocket and he lobs a set of keys at her. I don't have time to go there tomorrow. You're taking yourself to Elysium. Good night. And he just gets up and walks away past her. And you hear more self-assured steps as they take the stairs at a reasonable stride despite their incomplete state. Leaving the two of you, perhaps, staring at each other. She's holding the keys like she just got handed a live grenade with no pin. Any response from Artem on that?
Congratulations.
And just we jump cut from there. And if there's no other thoughts, that's the end of that evening. So if my other neonates would like to join back in, we're going to start the new night with a little bit of round robin. First thing is always a bit of bookkeeping. If you are planning to wake up tonight, which I am assuming is the case since you're all here, 1 point of blood. Which, by the way, if you are planning to be around humans at all this evening, and you do not have the merit that allows you to simply be as you are, you should spend your other point of blood now. If no, I'm doing this the wrong way.
Excuse me.
Everyone gets back 1 willpower automatically. But if you require getting back more, I need to hear an argument. So who is in deficit?
I am in deficit by 1.
Mm-hmm.
I do recall that you asked me to write down that
Mhm.
Ellie felt like they had the best night tonight for going through with the revenge plot on the politician.
You know what? Alexander Dumas wrote a fantastic epic story about how great revenge can feel. So I would like for you to give yourself that willpower point back,
Thank you.
and we will cover exactly why in a moment. Who's next? Anyone else? Okay. We're just going to do a very quick thing in terms of just seeing where everyone's starting tonight. We'll get into longer, more in-depth scenes as we go, but let's just do the quick how everyone's night is starting. Let's go with Poppy.
Poppy will wake up in her matching pajamas. She went with the yellow sunflower ones. And will kind of quickly start getting ready because she knows that Clarice wanted to have a chat with her.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think because of the previous night's events, that kind of exited her mind. So she's like a little bit late to be talking with Clarice, I think. So she wakes up in a slight panic, and goes about getting ready as quickly as possible, puts on, just like a nice simple sundress, and does her hair up in like 2 little braids on the side just to kind of give her a little, I guess, a faux hawk looking thing. Be cute.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
So are you requiring to go feeding at any point?
She could eat, but she's not like starving.
Okay.
Yeah, she's fine.
Okay. Well, it's a long night. I'm sure you'll have other opportunities if it comes up.
Right.
So I'm assuming, are wandering through the house trying to find Clarice.
Yes. Trying to not like beeline toward her, trying to do it with grace, but trying to find Clarice as quickly as she can.
Okay. You find her in her familiar white room space. It's not quite the stark matrix construct room that maybe you could envision, but close. But in it, she is, well, in contrast to the space, is doing a charcoal sketch of a face you're beginning to recognize, at least in concept, maybe not in full feature.
Right.
You've seen some of the photographs. The cameo necklace doesn't quite match him as it is of the clan sigil specifically. But she seems to be focusing on much of his imperfections as much as perfections, and finding some grace in the contrasts, as if that is the point rather than the extremes themselves.
I love that. Poppy will kind of quietly hum a little bit of like, "Hi, is now a bad time?"
She waves you in, and she takes a step back and takes a damp cloth and wipes off her hands. Though I'm sure as someone who has probably worked with that medium, that does nothing.
Nope.
It's less
And to
about
do charcoal
cleaning.
in a white room?
Yeah.
Wild. Bold.
Whatever the equivalent of Vanta Black is, I'm sure she has that for white
For
by
sure.
the gallon.
Ugh.
But she kind of just... What do you think?
Oh, what does Poppy think?
Well, the question... There can be many questions. What do you think of him? What do you think of the art? What do you think of the style? It could be many, many things that she is asking, or all of them at once.
I think Poppy will kind of look at it regarding the perfections and imperfections, and she'll say, secretly incandescent, secretly shiny.
He'd hate that. She does peer a little closer than the mirth. There's almost like a tremor in it. Like an emotional tremolo is really about the only way I can put it.
Right.
Can never get the eyes right.
Eyes were always tricky for me as well.
Did you have plans tonight?
Not exactly. I was thinking of going over to Elysium. There's someone there that I'd like to meet that I have yet to. Olivia, who I believe works in the horticultural area there. A friend of mine mentioned her to me.
Oh, the young Tremere.
Yes.
Careful around that one.
Oh, why?
Oh, I forget that you're so young and new. By sheer virtue of being Tremere.
I see.
Doesn't mean you can't associate, just be wary.
I will. I promise.
But if you're going there, I have someone else for you to meet as well.
Oh, great.
Have you met Miss Verhoeven yet?
I have not.
Oh. This will be fun then.
Verhoeven. Okay.
She's one of us. I've spoken with her about your interest at SCAD.
Oh, amazing. Okay, that'll be great.
Well, I have my own strings that I can pull there. She's more actively on site.
Great. What does she do at SCAD, or what kind of presence does she have there?
I'll let her tell you all about that.
Okay. Sounds good.
And she does look at the sundress. She doesn't seem to remark on the hair. It's almost like she just leans in and just not so much puts the hair that was out of place into place as much as alter the place.
Mm-hmm.
I like the hair. The sundress may be the wrong vibe.
Excellent. What is the vibe?
Not that.
Okay.
Only hint you're getting.
Love a mystery. Okay.
See you back down here in 20.
Say that again, sorry.
See you back down here in 20.
Oh, excellent. You're going as well. I'll be right back. And she's like a little bit frazzled, being like, okay, we have to completely redo the vibe, the look, the hair stays. Do we change the lipstick? Like yeah.
We can return to the specifics of that if you'd like to think about it a little bit.
Yeah, give me a second to troll
Okay.
my internal closet.
Okay. In the meantime, is it okay if I switch over to someone else?
Yeah, go for it.
Or before we do that, are there any other phone calls you want to start, any other meetings you want to set up before you head out?
Poppy will send a text to Heidi just saying, been thinking about your gallery enigma. I'm gonna do some research. Smiley face.
Mm-hmm.
And then she may hit the group chat just being like, I'm going over to Elysium later if y'all want to hang out at all.
I'm assuming you don't say Elysium.
No, I do not say that. heading to Wormslow later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You do, of course, have a notification from Lump.
Ooh. That I will have to do later because I feel like that's going to go back burner for her as she's quickly changing clothes.
Mhm. All right, then. We are going to change over to someone else real quick. Cora, if you're ready.
I am.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about how Cora wakes up.
uh, with that less fumbling, but still reaching up, pushing aside the clothing from the little closet that she has the cot set up in, pulls the little chain to turn the light on in the space. A quick, first thing she does, I think, after that, before even getting dressed, is just sitting there on the edge of the cot. She looks at her phone. The time difference has her now sort of instinctively checking for messages from home first before doing anything else.
You have one text from Gerhardt.
Great. Okay.
One text from Heinrich. Both say a variation of the exact same thing, which is look outside.
All right. Cora is going to tell each of them that the other messaged me too. Did you plan this? And then she'll walk over to the window and peek through the blinds.
Which window? As in ground floor or...
Well, her bedroom is on the top floor, so she'll look at the top floor first.
Nothing of immediate consequence.
Okay. Then, still in pajamas, she will walk down the steps. She'll take a pause right before she heads downstairs, though, and sort of braces herself for the upside down feeling that she tends to get every time she walks up, down, traverses the steps.
How do I describe this? Temporal synesthesic vertigo isn't as overwhelming as it was before. It's more like a ghost of itself. As if every step in this opposite direction that you're used to is pushing back that short-lived muscle memory.
It feels sort of floaty, I imagine, in this case, and she's going down, but feels like she's moving up. Anyway, she'll go ahead and look through the window there, out on this little ragged porch of hers, and out towards the street. The much too bright street light illuminating everything.
You don't see anything on the street. There are the ever-changing array of cars and empty spaces. It's the sort of regularity you would see of a normal city street. However, eventually as you're peering around, you do notice at the corner of your vision, there are two packages sitting just outside your front door.
She'll open the door.
I'm assuming you don't open them then and there. You bring them into the house.
Yeah, she's gonna bring them in.
Okay.
She's gonna bend down, pick up the
Mhm.
packages. Are they such that she can carry both of them at once?
They're maybe a little heavier than you expect, so you're at least gonna have to bring them in one at a time and then
Okay,
sort
so
of
she'll do
juggle these
that
things up the
thing where you
stairs.
like kind of shuffle it across the floor and you have to like lift it to make it step up over the little like guard between the door and the out like the two seams of what is outdoor floor and indoor floor.
But eventually, you do hustle these things up the stairs to your main area.
Mhm. And then she'll just sit down on the floor because where else is there to sit?
Mhm.
Uh, cross her legs and open these things.
Now, in no uncertain order, we're just going to tell you what's in these.
Okay.
From whom you surmise to be Gerhardt and Essen, the more pragmatic gift for your housewarming. Sets of linens, all for the kitchen, bathroom, and bedroom. And of course, drapes.
Excellent.
Now, let's manage expectations. Drapes aren't going to protect you from the curse, but it might help the place feel more private.
Absolutely. Help tamp down some of the echo too.
Mm-hmm.
If perhaps maybe inviting a different type of echo a little bit if it reminds her of home.
Mm, perhaps more in the sense of if she goes to actually hang them up,
Hmm.
but we'll get to that at some point if that's something you get to.
Perfect.
Do you go for the other box?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, checking really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
What's the return address on the package? Did they just ship it straight from somewhere, or did they, like is it like an Amazon thing, or did it come from
I feel
somewhere
like it's
that I
very appropriately
recognize?
German that it arrived via DHL,
Perfect.
and we'll leave it at that. The second from Jürgen Heinrich. It is a non-store blend of Turkish coffee. But what's
Excellent.
taking up the bulk of the weight in the package is a proper coffee maker. Not that you
Thanks,
would
Jürgen.
use it in the same way that most people would, but given your predilection for sense memory.
She's going to unseal the package there while it's still seated
Mhm.
and of the coffee itself and smell it.
As though your memory was caffeine powered, there is this influx of memory at the same rate as breathing in the coffee, of walking through a night market, the parade and dizzying array of lights in a variety of ways. The click of a gun, but in reverse, as if it is decocking.
Boy, I'll need to find something to send him.
Now, I am sure Cora would very much like to sit in these feelings, maybe roll around in the new linens like a kitten finding warm laundry,
Yes.
but she does have other things to get to tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. So, she'll take the things,
Mhm.
the coffee and the coffee maker she'll set in the kitchen on the counter. And the linens she'll go and just sort of set in a nice neat pile on the cot for now. And she'll get changed for the night.
Mhm. Now, you do have one meeting already set up. Did you already discuss where?
I don't believe so. I think she said that when I asked where we were going to meet, she told me that I would find out. So,
To that end, if you finally check your phone,
uh-huh.
you do have a text from Vega.
So I would have done my normal
Mhm.
go ahead and shower off, even though I don't really need it. It just feels nice.
Mhm.
Um,
It's the rituals that we use to continue to feel human when we are not.
Precisely. Getting dressed, she'd probably have originally reached for that same, like, cream blazer, business shorts, sort of like quasi-formal thing that she was wearing on the first night. But there's a bit of Max on it still. So she's gonna opt for her jacket instead.
I mean, it's a vibe. Um,
And
good to
then,
wear life's
yes,
lessons on your sleeve, I guess.
I think Cora's got somebody to ask about this if she happens to run into him when she heads out for the night. But yes, I'll go ahead and look at my phone when I hear it buzz.
I would just say wearing the cream blazer with the example of Max on it to talk to Vega would at least confer you understand some things. But at the same time, it might be a bit gauche.
I can pack it with.
I just like the image. That's all I'm saying. Now, the text just says, Wormslow, I'll find you when I'm free.
Guess I'm spending the night at Wormslow.
Now, there was one other appointment you had thought about making. Have you actually done that yet?
Yes, I think since we're going there anyway, she's gonna go ahead and call Leland.
Okay. I have to figure out how to do that voice again. Been a while. Oh, yes. Hello.
Leland, so our initial appointment went well, and I know it's only been a week, but I thought I could use another one, if you don't mind.
Oh, well, weekly appointments are usually the norm, so I think we could find some way to make that work.
Good, good. It's not really the same issue, or maybe it's somehow related, but well, I'll tell you when I get there. I was hoping to prompt you, but I don't know how to phrase it.
Ah, yes. Well, Let's go somewhere where patient-doctor confidentiality applies, shall we?
Of course.
Uh, would Wormslow work for you this evening?
It's going to have to. I have another appointment there as well, so.
Ah, well, serendipitous. See you tonight.
Okay. I'll see you tonight.
And click, and off he goes. Now, before you head out anywhere,
Hmm.
do you need to try and get a little nibble?
Well, I'm doing all right, since I was able to eat last night. Um, but I suppose I could see what happens.
Well, how about this? We don't have to get into the entire scene work, but you can look for a meal of opportunity in your neighborhood,
Hmm.
and I'll let you roll for that, and we can figure out the outcome as a result.
All right. I guess I'll just go for a little stroll.
Now, let's see how we can adjudicate this. If you are looking for... Are you looking to chat someone up? Or are you looking to simply just walk up and find someone not paying attention, playing Pokemon Go? Like, what are we doing here?
Um, it's going to feel very awkward, but I think we're going to go for the pounce approach simply because I need to get to Wormslow before Vega needs me. So,
Now, here's something I would suggest for you.
mhm.
You don't want to see Vega for different reasons tonight.
Right. Okay.
So, Pounce good. I would suggest, just in case, using a willpower.
Good thinking.
Now, we could apply this a couple of different ways. You could do... maybe perception alertness to time this, making sure that there
Okay.
is no one else around you at the time. You could maybe do Dex stealth.
I think we're going to have to do perception alertness.
Okay. Keep in mind, with Dex, you have your celerity added to it as well.
Okay.
And then the
Even
one
with
auto
that.
success.
Even with that, I think perception alertness is the better
Okay.
option.
We are still going to be doing that at a 7 because you don't know the neighborhood that well yet.
No, I don't. Okay, so I'm going for a stroll.
Okay.
I don't know exactly where I wind up, but I'm near the park and it's night, so maybe there's a jogger or something.
Well, we'll see how fast they run.
And willpower again is one automatic success.
That cannot be undone by ones.
Okay.
You could roll all ones and you would still have that success.
Okay.
Tabby.
I have. Hi, Tabby. I have 2 successes.
On top of the auto, or
That is
choose?
counting the auto success.
Okay.
So it's not wonderful.
Mm-hmm. That's enough to get you 2 off of 1 person.
Oh, good. Okay.
If you'd gotten a myriad of successes, it would have allowed you to go on a little bit of binge. But that also has its risks of, if the neighborhood looks to be statistically anemic, you might cause yourself some other problems, but we'll go for 2. You manage to find someone, I'm gonna commit to it, playing Pokemon Go or some other type of thing, and instead of having their phone stolen or mugged, they just get a little lightheaded and have to sit down on a park bench or on the curb, unaware. But their first thought as they scream back to consciousness is how they've just wasted a resource or they missed whatever thing they were trying to get. And you just hear this constant bitching about, oh, what is it? Sparkly? Is that what the special
Oh,
ones
the
are?
shinies.
Shiny.
The
Yes.
shinies. Showing my old man here at the moment.
I imagine then Cora would have also had her phone open. And then, as they're close enough, sitting and spinning the wheel at the at the gym or whatever, she'll just kind of do a little like reach under from behind so that they're controlled and braced and chomp so they don't collapse when she bites.
Niantic, if you're looking for people to sponsor, I guess this would be like Uber Eats, but anywho. Okay, so you have your meeting sorted, you're fed, you're on the road. Before I switch over to anybody else, is there anything that you'd like to cover?
Hmm. I think the other things that she wants to do tonight she can address when she gets to the big house.
Okay. Kate. Now, while I know some of the things you do want to get up to, how do you start your evening?
Similar to Cora, the shower, keeping the routine, checking the news for any insanity that may have happened during the daylight hours.
Mm.
Mostly the political section.
So, which
Chock
leads
full of
me
insanity.
to something I've been sitting on. I need to go scroll to this. There was a news story that broke in the late afternoon regarding the extramarital affairs and children out of wedlock involving a local politician of minor standing, previously known for running on a platform of family values. There was the usual tearful press conference where he said he will be stepping back from his duties and that his family requires privacy and respect at this time. Though, naturally, someone in the press corps asked, which family? Shortly before the press conference erupted into shouting. So, Sam, that's why you're getting the willpower back, because your character is elementally petty, and this fuels them. So, I'm assuming Kate files that away in her brain. She's like, huh, that's interesting. On with the rest of my night.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I will check my phone to see if there are any messages. I know Belle and I still were working on somewhere to set up our meeting.
Mm-hmm. You do get one from Belle that says, for the sake of ease, Wormslow, question mark.
I'll just give it a thumbs up.
Okay.
And then I need to eat before business gets started this evening.
Okay. Now I have some thoughts on that. Is there any in particular that you're trying to pursue?
No, gotten a couple of herd members. I can't cross my arms. It's similar to Cora, like a grab and go fast food this evening.
Okay.
Did we just kill Cora?
No, the car crash did that. But anyways. Well, we can do this one of two ways.
Mhm.
You can either do the dine and dash. You'd have to be in the right environment to find those individuals. Or you can peruse your Rolodex that you have started to accrue.
I think I'm going to go with what I was originally thinking, and
Okay.
I'm going to dine and dash. Again, similar to Cora, because I'm not that far from Pinky's. The great thing about living downtown is there's no good parking, so people have to walk a lot.
Okay. So, looking at your sheet, let's find the best argument for how you're going to do this.
What did you have Cora rolled? Perception alertness?
Yes, that's going to be more your making sure you're not spotted.
Gotcha.
Or you could... You probably don't want to run the risk of the stealth.
No, because I don't have any.
Manipulation, subterfuge to sort of lure someone into a salaciously compromising moment.
Yeah, we could do that.
It does seem to be Kate's MO.
Yeah. Okay, and then willpower is an automatic 1, you said?
Automatic success. Automatic one's a bad
That's-
thing.
You know what I mean. Let's do that as well. Are we doing a higher DC or are we sticking with 6?
Because it's less about the neighborhood and more about the person. So we're going to go with the 6,
Okay.
assuming you have things in those categories. Because you have subterfuge.
Oh, I have quite a bit in these categories.
That's what I thought.
Okay, so hold on. No, not you. That is 5 successes, but let me roll 2 more. That's 7 successes.
I feel like Sam was just mortally offended by the amount of successes. Helena, if you could clip that for me for later, that would be fantastic. You know, just as evidence for no reason. Thank you. 5 successes.
7
Wow.
successes.
7.
And a willpower, so technically 8.
8 successes. Okay.
If I could get 2 people with that many, that would completely top
So
me
here's
up.
how I'm gonna adjudicate this.
Okay.
Because you did 8 successes on one person, there wouldn't be a person anymore. There'd be a new story. There'd just be this exsanguinated husk.
All we are is dust in the wind.
That person especially. Doesn't feel so good, Mr. Stark. Now, I would say with that, you are perhaps in a scrub style cutaway, you are almost pirouetting through this side street that you have occasionally pulled some people into with whatever lie or prurient promise. But you have how would I put this? You have achieved maximum, because I think that's the only way to fairly reward that dice outcome. So you're doing pretty good. More to the point, because you're finally not doing this at a bar and that amount of blood, you're not having any kickback. You're not having any highs or lows in the sense of there's a substance involved. You're just even keel. The tank is full. Perhaps the only high of that is simply knowing I have accomplished a thing. I have places to be. I have no more complications to deal with other than to be there. Your posture is normally quite good to begin with, but now it's as if you almost feel a foot taller. So, before you head out, are there any other plans, any other research, any other things you want to set into motion before you head out?
Not yet, but once again, the problem of not having an additional space to meet is rearing its head.
Mm-hmm.
It was easy being the child of the Prince of DC, having multiple location options always, though not Kate's. Kate had the option to meet people at different places. She was even gifted a second apartment for feeds and things. And it's going to be more difficult here, but difficult in that, you just can't call up daddy and be like, hey, can I have another apartment, please? But to begin thinking about what it would take to get a second small space here.
Well, typically money. But where is also the big concern.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to accommodate where everyone is in the city, if you're trying to actually use it just for them or for your personal purposes. Or maybe the two are the same. A place where if you're going to involve Tabby, how she is going to get there. Would she have good access to it? All these things to consider. But as Kate is a studious sort, and we have talked at length outside the game about Zillow and other such things, I'm sure we could find something eventually.
She might start setting up an alert.
I would be surprised if she hadn't already. Like, that was the thing she did before she passed out.
Mm-hmm. And now she's going to have to drive and see where manholes are close enough to the property.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to cover before I switch over to the next person?
I'm good.
Okay. Let's go with Tabby. Sorry, Ellie, because Tabby's not here tonight. Be a hell of a move. I just...
Good to know. Good to know.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So, I mean, the first thing Ellie's doing is looking at their phone
Mm-hmm.
for all of the various alerts that they've set
Well,
up.
as
They
we've
have
previously
multiple-
discussed, yeah, there's all kinds of like RSS, there'd be subreddits, there'd be everything imaginable, I am assuming,
They're
for Ellie.
they're looking into like part of what's probably giving them life right now is them looking into like conspiracy theories about it. And then also just like it's probably one of those things where it's like there are 3 screens up and all of them have some sort of like a recording of the media interviewing the thing, and the just keeps on looping the witch family joke because they just find that hilarious.
As was put up during the fine birthday edit from Helena earlier, where Yvette gave the sassy backbiting comment to Petra, and there was the meme of the group just screaming.
Yeah.
I imagine the entire press corps is a little like that.
Yep.
So, but from multiple angles, some more professional, like actual local news, some of them more guerrilla news. Like somebody somehow with a vlog managed to sneak in.
Yeah. Yep.
So, but there's only so much reveling you can do on that in one sitting. Maybe you have it in your ear the whole night on a loop.
I was like,
But
can that just be?
depends. Is there anything else you want to accomplish tonight? Aside from wallowing in your own crapulence.
Yeah. So Ellie knows that tomorrow they'll be working with Ava. But they did want to, if Petra's available, reach out as well, because it's good to get a variety of different sources. So they'll send a text out to Petra, basically going like, it was good to meet you last time. I was wondering if you had time tonight or another night for some more lessons.
You don't get anything right away. You do get the notification that they have seen the message.
Good, great.
But it's about another 10 minutes or so before they respond. I'm at the only place that matters tonight.
Texts back, I will meet you there.
No reply.
I'm gonna assume that means Wormslow.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I'm gonna be real embarrassed.
But before you head out there, what
Mhm.
other little chores and errands would you like to attack?
Well, Amon reminded me last night of my general duties, so one of the first things I'm going to do is activate my tracker.
Okay. Now, this is where we need a little bit of cooperation from Cora's player.
Yep.
Now, how quickly do you do this at the start of your evening? Do you do this very early when you wake up, Ellie, or do you give this a couple of hours? You're doing this just on your way out, or are you doing this
This isn't no
part of your
because I
routine?
have another thing I'm doing while that, so I'm staying here at my room to do that. So I would say with gloating, and then Petra texting Petra and
So
planning
all
out
like
the
in the
evening.
first
It's in the first
half hour.
hour.
Okay.
Oh yeah, first half hour to an hour that I'm doing that.
So for Cora,
Mm-hmm.
between you getting up, cleaning up, opening your housewarming gifts,
Yes.
going out for a little stroll where you have
Mhm.
left your car at home to do this, that's a
Yes,
good hour and a half or so.
There's no reason she wouldn't have left her car at home.
Hmm.
It is in the garage there, so.
Okay. So this is where we do our little bit of a check-in because this is a little bit of PvP to one extent or another. Are you okay with that being used this way?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. So you get a ping with your very brief check-in from your tracker
Mm-hmm.
of where the car is. You'd have to do some more research to find out anything else beyond that, but you know
Oh yeah,
on the map where it is.
that's part of the reason why um that's part of the reason why I stayed in my location, because the idea would be that I would kind of, I think Ellie is not quite assuming that it's right next door, so is basically like marking a 2 to 3 block radius
Mm-hmm.
in their head about, okay, so in this neighborhood is maybe approximately, give or take a few blocks for paranoia.
Mm-hmm. Now the other thing to consider is that one ping does not a pattern make.
Correct. Yeah, I would have to do it again, but it's a little bit like we're starting to get the conspiracy board, and like there's a map of Savannah, and like just marking
Pepe
this
Silva,
is the
got it.
first. Yeah, this is the first area that we're noticing.
Mm-hmm. Well,
But that's all that they're gonna do right now.
okay. Now we have discussed that it is limited in terms of battery.
Correct.
So
I
it's
think this
not
is the only
active
time
tracking,
tonight.
it's
Yeah. I think this is the only time tonight that they're going to do
Okay.
that.
Now, before you head out, you had told me that there are two things that you probably want to do, one of which may or may not be feeding.
Mm-hmm. I have 4. I'm missing 4 dots of blood, so I might want to maybe hunt for some rats before I
Okay.
go drive over to Elysium.
Okay. But you also wanted to work on your van a tiny bit as well before you head out.
I did.
So what I'll say is because the van is not parked within the Warrens, it is a roundabout path both through the Warrens and then through the sewers proper in order to get to it.
Yeah.
It's one of the many sort of little stash garages. So you could, once you get into the sewers proper, try and find some. Or at least
Yeah.
2 rats with 1 stone.
Yeah. I think I'll do that on the way
Okay.
to my van.
So for you, how would you like to roll for this?
I think one of the tactics is staying in the shadows, and like kind of when I start to see a pattern of rats that go back and forth, especially if they've found a source of food nearby, is staying still and staying near a wall, because a lot of times what rats will do, and mice in general, is like they don't want to be in the open as much as possible. They'll go like along the side of the wall, which basically means that if they don't see anything, they can almost run straight into me, and it's an easy enough little trap there.
Okay. Now, are you trying to go invisible to
I guess
make it
this
a
is
little easier?
I guess this is a kind of a question on the because the idea of the invisibility is that it mostly affects sight, but not so much smell. Granted,
Mhm.
I don't know how much we quote smell. So I'm not sure how much obfuscate would actually affect that.
Mm. Well, how about this? We'll let you roll for it.
Okay.
So that's going to be what judges this, is that you are trying to use obfuscate to basically, you don't see me, you don't smell me, you are
Yep.
trying to John Cena the rats.
Yep.
Let's see how good you are at doing this little promo.
So is that stealth and intelligence since I'm planning it out?
That's not a bad argument. That or manipulation stealth.
I'm happy to do manipulation stealth since manipulation's higher.
Yeah. I'll let you do it at 5.
Great.
It would probably be lower, but it's more a case of, this is the first time you're really trying to make this work.
Yep. Okay. Had ones canceling out a bunch of successes, so that's
no.
2 successes total
Okay.
with everything manipulated.
I'll let you get 2 total.
Great. All right.
And you wanted to do work a little bit on the van before you head on out. Nothing maybe too strenuous, because you want the car to still be able to run before you head out.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit on being able to start being able to intercept radio signals that are not usually available to the public. Is kind of Ellie's
Okay.
idea.
You probably would have had to get like a scanner of some sort. Like, you're trying to get like a police scanner or more.
I think that might be a start.
Okay.
Yeah, having a police scanner.
That might be a little.
That
That's
might be
less
like
start,
going
that's
on
more
ShrekNet.
mid.
Yeah.
I
feel like for Ellie, it's like, yeah, start with a police scan. Start small with a police scanner.
I'd say you'd probably need to talk to Lila exactly how to source one of those.
Yeah.
But in the case of maybe talking more about brand than rather just getting one, like now you're getting into granularity of like getting a good one versus just getting one.
Yeah, I'm not getting one that's just like the cheap option for now. Like I want this to function.
It's the buy nice or buy twice scenario.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, you could have had that conversation before you head out. You were given a few exercises. Nothing that you have to do right that minute, but a thing of see how fast you can get into these virtual lock boxes.
These are probably the type of stuff like kind of dummy ones that were created by Lila.
Yeah, it's basically just like a virtual machine kind of thing. It's like, hey, when you get a chance, go break into these.
Sure. Thinking if I want to do that now, or if I want that to be like
that could be later
at the end of the night, like just before I go to bed, just break
just
into a few
wind
lock
down.
boxes. Yeah. Virtual lock boxes to break into and study to.
It's all about just exploring a system and figuring out how it works. And I feel like that's what Ellie does to fall asleep. Like that's their melatonin. But doing a little bit of wiring, maybe doing a little bit of cosmetic work. Because I think that's really the most glaring part about the van is that it was that sort of incandescent Rust-Oleum color when you first got it.
Yeah, I might need to see if Bucky or someone else eventually does like actual body shop work that can make it look a little bit more new. Or at the very least, not a look at that decrepit van on the other side of the street. That looks suspicious.
Mm. Yeah. Maybe you'll run into someone at the big house.
Sounds good.
But I think, unless there's anything else you'd like to add? Okay. I think now is a very good time for a very quick break. And we'll check back in with our neonates very soon. Welcome back to Savannah by Night. We've just been covering the new night for these neonates. And we're going to get back to dear Artem, who's now starting appropriately a bit later than everyone else. As you wake up in the guest house that you have refurbished yourself, you do have a text waiting.
What does that text say, Graham?
It is from Yvette. And it is a dropped pin pointing you to one of the side streets around Forsyth Park with the note, meet me here. And she gives a time.
Okay.
You have about an hour to get there.
Okay. So blood-wise, after waking up and blush of life, I'm rocking just under 70%.
Okay.
So I'm not desperate, but you know, I could grab something real fast. That would be great, but I should probably just.
Now, to complicate matters further, do try to get cleaned up for this date.
Yeah.
Do you just dress up however you want to, however you think you should, or do you try to seek other advice?
I'm probably just going to go. I'm not like dressing up. It's like an athleisure look, basically. Artem has got a pretty good looking body.
Slav squatting his way through life, I see.
Essentially, yeah. He's got a very good looking body and he's letting it do most of the talking.
So for Artem, his entire life is just gray sweatpants season. Got it.
You know, again, I just like
as
someone who has been an athlete for a long time, you can make sweatpants work.
Yes, we have all seen the picture of modern day realistic Johnny Bravo that is Artem. So yeah, we're I think we're all reading the same page here.
Yeah. So so something like that, got a collared shirt. And
was this a collared shirt that he bought for himself, or one that he is trying to steal from Alden?
One that he did buy for himself. Yes.
Okay.
So this is for Elysium purposes. And that's probably it. Obviously get take a shower, make sure we don't stink.
Hmm.
Um,
But I'm assuming you do that after you go for a hunt.
that's right. Yes.
Okay, so let's deal with that real quick.
Mhm.
How do you want to go about it?
So typically speaking, I think we've been doing survival and perception or wits. The idea is basically I want to,
Well, let's start with this. Is this targets of opportunity or anticipation?
I think I would like to go for anticipation, and that's why I'd like to make an argument for animal kin instead this time, because I'm starting to learn more about the creatures that are around here and
Mhm.
where they live
Okay.
and where they go.
All right, I'll allow that.
Okay.
And what's the primary skill being used?
So I'm not going to argue too hard either way because
Hmm.
perception and wits are the same for me. But
Okay.
I think, again, because this is a bit more premeditated, I would prefer wits.
Wits is more reactionary.
Okay.
So intelligence is more the one where it's you are
Intelligence then.
planning
Okay.
ahead.
Okay. Then maybe we'll just do intelligence.
Okay. We're going to do this out of 5 because, like you said, you have been learning the area. This is, for better or worse, becoming home. And because you are very used to a wooded environment
Mm-hmm.
and not necessarily sleeping in the exact same spot every night, the woods looking just a little bit different, learning to navigate them. This is new yet old at the same time.
Yeah. Okay. So
And the main difference is you have some light pollution to contend with because you're close enough to the city.
So 4 minus 1.
Mhm.
I do get a re-roll because I did have 2 10s.
Mhm.
So 3.
The 1 would erase one of the 10s.
Yes, that's right. I rolled another 10. So we do end up with 4.
Nice. I'll say, what would you have been hunting? That's the real question.
Either
Well, let's start with this. Is the intent of preservation or exsanguination?
we're kind of always going for preservation.
Okay. So I'm trying to think that what would be in the area. Because surprisingly, there are some bigger animals, but more so towards the marshes and preservation areas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to make things easier, just, to make things obvious,
Mhm.
we're not in our outfit yet, so we can get a little dirty.
That's fair. I would say you're able to find, with that many successes, a deer,
Yeah, that works.
not a big one,
Mhm.
just something that is grazing, something that maybe you are maybe surprised to see given the proximity to the city,
Mhm.
but the scent you'd be used to, it would be undeniable.
Yeah.
And as you stalk a little bit closer, you see it does the telltale flick look, but it's looking in the wrong direction. It catches the echo and not the source. Confused maybe by sounds bouncing off the water. And you loom in like you're doing right now to the camera. And I'll give you 3 for that.
Sounds good to me.
It doesn't have a lot of higher brain function to
Those
protect, so
choices.
3 is fine.
Mhm.
It's probably going to take a pretty heavy nap afterwards,
Mhm.
but
Give him a nice little,
Scritch.
scratch behind the ears. And then time to mate our fate.
Mm. You get all cleaned up. As you're coming down the stairs, you do realize that Alden is not there. And Chris is outside, unmooring the boat all by herself, but in a way that's maybe not as confident. She's taking her time. Like, it doesn't seem like she's bad at it. It's more a case of if it's not something you're used to, you're just taking more time with each step.
Mm-hmm.
Second guessing maybe a little bit before going, no, okay, that's right. And then moving on. If she sees you, she doesn't let on. Maybe she's just a little focused on what she's doing, trying to get it right.
Well, I don't
But-
want to distract her,
Mm-hmm.
but I do want to say, you got to teach me how to do that sometime.
And she looks a bit startled for a second because she was very focus locked on this. But as she turns to look at you, she's not so much dressed to the nines as much as she is dressed with a little bit more studs to her jacket. And her pants this time. But like this asymmetrical pattern. So studs on one side of the jacket and then studs on the other side for the pants. A little bit more of a wet, gelled look to the hair, but still with those curls. It's probably going to go a little more wild as soon as she puts the gas down in the boat. And that may have been by design. Well, maybe I'll show you tomorrow or give you a ride back tonight. And she looks over at you. Oh shit, is that tonight for you?
Mm. Yes,
Do you need to turn location services on your phone just in case?
maybe. Actually, if I send you anything, even if it's just a letter, can you call me and say that Alden needs me to do something?
I don't.
Please.
Okay. She looks like she's gonna give you a bit of shit, but then she looks at the fact that she has the keys, she has the boat. Alden's not here. She could go anywhere right now if she wanted. And you don't know this for certain. But maybe, just maybe, there's somewhere in her head that owes you for that. Yes. Yeah, okay. But if
Thanks.
you need me to come get you somewhere, I'm not going to have a car.
Yeah. That's
So I'll let
fine.
everyone in the group chat know that you need help.
I guess that's the price I'd have to pay.
Have fun.
Get us into that brouhaha party.
She kind of laughs at that because maybe she'll be there tonight. And
Belongs to another.
she does start revving up the boat, and it does take a second to kind of remember how to start this thing up and drive it, but not in a way of I don't know how to drive a boat as much as I'm not used to this one. She has mentioned before that she is a local, and for certain parts of the South along the coast, many people have learn how to drive a boat before they ever learn to drive a car. A lot of them like to go out to those brouhaha parties. In short order, she heads out, which I'm assuming you do as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I doubt Artem would do this, but would Artem clean up the car before his quote-unquote date?
At least he'd make sure the inside isn't messy, but I think he's kind of been taking care of it
Mm-hmm.
just based on, who it belongs to. So I don't know if there'd be much to do.
Okay.
He's not the kind of guy that's like leaving,
He's not out and back doing spinnies in the mud kind of thing. It's already in pretty decent.
Yeah, and like he's not leaving shit in there, like
Mm.
is so the answer is no, but because he doesn't really need to, not because he's a slob.
Okay. So he heads on out to Forsyth Park, unless he makes any other stops.
No, I'd probably go to Forsyth first.
Okay. Now the pin has you on the north side, or actually no, the west side. And she's waiting, leaning back with her wrists behind her back, crossed over, leaning against the lamppost. Very dramatic. She's wearing a white sundress that almost seems to have a bodice. The gaps of the laces, however, expose much of her back and then crisscross around her throat like a choker. And she's waiting especially for you. Now the question is, do you call her over? Or do you get out and open the door?
Yeah, he'll probably get out and open the door.
Okay. She'll
Miss.
She'll sashay over, and she will reach up and fingertips under your chin and lead you into that sort of kiss or sort of air kiss style.
Mhm. Artem is familiar with the custom.
Mm-hmm. Do you help her into the seat, or are you just holding the door?
Just holding the door.
Okay. You get in, and she is pulling up her phone to input an address for you to follow the directions. Do you remark on anything? Do you ask her anything?
What's the plan tonight?
Well, I thought of something I think will appeal to you.
Is that
Yeah.
right?
Not for anyone else, not some cookie cutter little date. Something just for you. Based on what I think I know about you, what I can guess. Shall we?
Let's go.
Now, on the drive, do you try to ask her anything, or is it an attempt at silent companionship? Or just Artem being silent because that's who he is?
I'll probably ask like how long she's been in the city. That kind of stuff.
Oh, a few years now, but usually more from the LA side of things. Los Angeles.
That's a while away, isn't it?
Well, I suppose that makes two of us. Was this your intended stop?
Not really.
Oh.
In a way, he's going to try and make it sound like this wasn't a complete bungle where he got totally fucked over by some asshole. But at the same time,
The story of what it is to be a vampire in
Right.
Vampire the Masquerade.
Mhm. Couldn't stay where I was living. Needed to put some distance, so just sort of, I guess I took the cheapest ticket I could find.
And she is looking at you through all this. She's not asking you questions, staring out the window. It's not piercing eye contact, but it is attention, active listening. I suppose this is rarely anyone's first choice. But doesn't mean we still can't decide our fates now that we're here.
That's true.
So what do you want for yourself? And don't give me the same old tired gangrel just to be left alone and nap under a tree. I've heard
really-
Rip Van Winkle far too many times. Give
I
me
really
something
do
new.
kind of want that, though.
Oh, please don't tell me you're going to be boring.
I never told you I was going to be interesting.
Girl lives for her hopes.
Ultimately, I want to go home.
Are you sure there's anything to go back for?
Yes.
So
He's
nice.
not.
Do you want to roll for that deception?
Sure.
Okay.
What's that? Manipulation and
Subterfuge.
subterfuge. Oh, goodness. So now just a rules question.
Because you don't have any subterfuge.
When
it's
you
at a higher
don't have
difficulty.
anything. um
We're actually going to put this at an 8. It would be a 7, but you don't
well, it
have
wasn't a one.
Mm-hmm. But it was a failure?
Yes.
Okay. Well, perhaps in the meantime, we can find a way to make this more palatable. A way to have home away from home.
Hmm.
And she gives you a little sly grin. Maybe home away from Alden.
The old guy's not so bad.
And as this passes, you finally arrive at your destination. To an extent, it looked like you were heading out to another elder Gangrel's estate. You have to drive damn near all the way across the county to get there. You're taking some of the same roads, but you have to veer off at one point. While the simple chain link fence gate is closed, Yvette picks up her phone and quickly makes a call. A male figure scuttles out from behind the gate to open it, a goofy grin on his face that quickly evaporates as soon as he sees Artem. His shoulders sag, and all the enthusiasm and gusto bleeds out, leaving someone simply going through the motions as Yvette blows a kiss in his direction. You okay, buddy?
How do I wordlessly motion to this guy that he's got nothing to worry about?
Before you is 51 acres of prime historical gardens. The grounds are large enough to contain 2 separate lakes. Many of the plants are unique crossbreeds only found here, or were transplanted from Asia and are the first of their kind in North America. The most notable example, of course, being the bamboo thicket at the heart of the property. You are at Coastal Georgia Botanical Gardens at the historic bamboo farm.
What is this place?
Oh, now I have your curiosity, do you? Park over here.
He does.
The man that had scuttled, nowhere to be seen at this point. And she waits for you to open her door.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, in fact, do so, or?
Yeah.
When the door opens, she holds out her hand, expectantly. Now, I brought you somewhere nice, so I expect you to treat me nice.
I think I've been doing so far.
And she walks her fingers up your chest, just boops your chin and then your nose. But I think you could treat me so much nicer.
You might have to spell it out for me a little bit.
Oh, you're just so very pretty, Artem.
Yes, I am.
And she's going to manipulate your arm into being the appropriate presentation for her to grab onto so that you can be paradoxically the one led along through this place.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are a variety and style of gardens. I'm sure Sam can cycle through some of the pictures on screen for us. They are the more pristine, elegant, very modern looking with white trellises. There are more desert-like scrub gardens. But as you amble through the place exploring, there are deep forest gardens as well. The kind of wildflowers that grow in thickets of dense trees, foliage. More color than maybe you were expecting. Where you were from, there was some color, but it was mostly greens, browns, and the almost black of primordial forest ground.
Mm-hmm.
But perhaps the place that she seems most interested in showing you is the pathway through the bamboo forest at night. And despite the size differential between the two of you, She does seem to be the one that's leading, at least for now. Not dragging you in the way that, say, Alice would drag our two Nosferatu, but, well, perhaps if you were to dance, she would be the one leading. Now we can rewind, adjust as we go if there's any particular parts of these that you want to remark on or react to.
Artem is mostly just going to be taking it in. I don't know how much he will remark, but is the juxtaposition of this beautifully curated area with all of these plants that are like not native, and they're all have very different ways that they're being taken care of, and they're constantly being tended to by dozens of people. And there is incredible beauty in that. But he's also thinking about the forest. He's thinking about Zoya and how she tended her land, how nature has its own beauty, and how this is incredible, but it's also fake. Which is not necessarily bad, but it's...
You're seeing it as less organic.
Yeah, he can't help but think of like, what if we just let this part grow for a week and nobody touched it? What would happen then? Like that kind of... And also, maybe once or twice, he sort of chuckles to himself, imagining Zoya walking through a bamboo forest.
Do you go off the beaten path, or do you stay on the wooden planks before you?
I think he would go off the beaten path. I imagine Yvette would expect that.
Yeah. She's giving a few feet of space, as if letting you off the leash and seeing what you do.
What lives here?
Are you asking her, or are you asking the
I'm asking
storyteller?
you.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have no way of knowing.
Yeah.
You'd have to go and...
Can I roll dice?
What would you like to roll?
Good question. Survival and perception, maybe?
Yep. We'll do that at a 6. I would do it lower, but you don't know what you're really looking for. This is like just a broad spectrum look.
And this is also just so different than what he's used to. 1, 2, 3.
3. You get the sense of a variety of creatures, mostly small rodents, some signs of birds. But if you look very closely, wolf.
Say wolf? Like regular wolf?
Wolf. As far as you know.
As far as I know.
Someone check on Helena, please. Do you react in particular to the wolf tracks?
Yeah, actually, he's gonna look at them, look at Yvette,
Mhm.
look back at them. You know what those are?
Again, sort of clasping her wrist behind her back, she peers over. Dog?
Close.
Uh-huh. And
Don't suppose there are any stories of people in our circle disappearing in this place, are there?
in this place in particular? Maybe. In the
Really?
county? Yes. You do know there are wolves here. And I mean the one that walks on two legs.
I did know that, yeah.
You haven't met them yet, have you?
No. He does not say, not the ones here. No, I was told to stay away from those.
Oh, and I bet you were told to stay away from me, and here you are.
I wasn't, actually.
Really? What were you told?
Uh, that you like to make an impression on newcomers. That's pretty much it.
What kind of impression?
Wasn't terribly specific.
Now, refresh my memory.
This is a lie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I couldn't tell if you didn't know or if Artem didn't know.
Would you like me to roll my one dice again?
Yes.
Lovely. What are we rolling for?
We're just gonna put this at a 7.
Okay.
I want to make it too punishing.
Hey, that's an 8.
Hmm. She's going to walk on up and sort of slide and slink her arm through yours as she almost pirouettes to be facing you nearly chest to chest. Or I guess her chest, your abdomen, considering the height differential, but... And without tilting her head, it's her eyes that lift. Well, maybe I just take special interest in those that I find appealing. The real question for you is, and she's going to walk her other hand up the chest again, fingertip on the side of your chin, do you find me appealing? And if you roll one way or another on this, Artem, now would be the time.
Well, you know, he's a red-blooded male.
Mm-hmm. And it is sweatpants season. Where are we going with that? You got to complete the thought for us.
Feeling's a loaded word. You're obviously incredibly beautiful. I don't know you very well yet.
Would you like to?
We're finding out, aren't we?
Hmm. No. She looks around the forest. I bet you in all these trees we can find one redwood. And she just looks at you a little hungry. Long story short, she's trying to call your bluff to see how far you go with this. We have to find a push pin for Artem.
I think right now I'm trying to keep things uncomplicated.
Who said there were strings? Although, as she says that, she turns around to show the loose knots that could be undone should the mood strike. Then you see the nape.
Mm-hmm. I think he will not undo the strings, but put one of his own fingers across them and say, "There are always strings."
Martel,
Yes.
I would like for you to write down. Moment of personal clarity to justify later reclaiming of willpower if needed.
Okay, sure.
It's a rare thing in the world to run into pre-nut clarity, so good for you. We need to like black out Sam's cam for a minute, or is he okay? Oh, what a shame.
Another boring gangrel, I guess.
Predictable isn't boring. I look at it as dependable. And really, as she turns and she starts to sashay back towards the path, looks over her shoulder. That's really all a girl wants in the world.
Shall we? He puts out his arm.
Mm. Would you say that that's a good moment to fade out on? Now, do you have intent to go anywhere else after this?
I'll probably head back to Elysium when we're done here, unless I mean, I assume this was the whole plan.
The plan was definitely for her to kind of show you around the place, let you explore, taking her new pet to the dog park and letting him sniff around. But how long you remain interested is really up to you. Maybe this is a half hour. Maybe it's 2 hours.
I think I will give her a respectable hour and a half.
And I'm assuming then that you ultimately head back to where you had picked her up.
Yes.
Okay. We'll come back to that later. Or rather, we can actually address that now just to make this cleaner. As you drop her off, she leans in, but not to the point of breaching your personal space too much.
Mhm.
But it's a case of you don't know if she's going to lean in for the kiss or leave you wondering if you should have leaned in. You don't know if there's a game there
Mhm.
or something earnest. Because while I've had you rolling this, basically a deception, you've never rolled the equivalent of insight.
Shall I do so now?
Hmm. The question is, would you like to? Would Artem feel compelled to really consider her motivations? Or would he not even care?
I think he might.
Okay. So I'll let you do. There's a couple of ways to do it. It could be either perception or manipulation, or even wits, depending on, or intelligence. Like it could be either way. The flowchart's a little wider on that in this.
Yeah.
But make me an argument for what you want to use.
I think I'm going to go with perception.
Mm-hmm.
What is the temperature of this? What is the temperature of this room? What is the
What is the sexual temperature? Got it.
right? It'll be more kind of working backwards. What do I
Okay.
think she wants me to do?
Mm-hmm.
And then based on that, what do I think her motivations are?
Okay. So do you have it's escaping me.
I have empathy.
That's the word I'm thinking of.
No longer a functioning sociopath.
Oh,
Sorry. Now a functioning sociopath.
there we go. Okay, so you're not at a higher difficulty. Is this a moment where you'd like to spend a willpower to ensure some amount of success?
You know what? Yeah, let's go ahead and use that pre-nut clarity.
I'm so proud of you right now.
Ooh, Graham.
I like it when you say my name that way, but carry on.
That is 4 successes, not including the willpower.
So 5.
Yes.
Okay. She's doing the 60-40 split, where she's moved in more than half the way, hoping you'll lean in for the other 40%. As for, we'll apply this retroactively because of how many successes you got.
Mm-hmm.
You get an underlying sense of there is some amount of a game being played. You couldn't possibly fathom what it is or why it is. You couldn't guess what the ultimate point of it would be. But what you are getting is genuine appeal, or that you appeal to her,
Mm-hmm.
at least visually. Which, hey, who can blame her if anybody is seeing his picture on stream right now?
He's very appealing. You should see the
He's
character sheet, y'all.
some sort of Slavic Adonis. But
I am statistically very beautiful.
there is certainly the possibility that there is some game being played. You don't know what it would be or why, but there is some sort of genuine attraction somewhere. And you do get the impression that there was time, thought, and energy put into picking where she took you tonight.
Mhm.
This wasn't some cookie cutter thing. This was bespoke for you. Not even just, I'll take a gangrel to the park. If that was the case, she would have just taken you to Forsyth and let you run free.
Mhm.
She found something that would harken back a little bit to the story you said your first night in Elysium. Or at least the nearest equivalent. So knowing all that, or at least guessing at it, knowing that she has leaned in that 60%, leaving the 40 up to you, what do you do?
We're not going to do an actual kiss, but again, cheek cheek. Thank you. Seriously. This was very nice.
Now, above the table, is that you being genuine?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I hope we're able to meet up again sometime soon.
We'll see.
Well, if we do, I'm curious what you would find appealing. And assuming he was going to say anything at all, she just gives a little finger press over his heart before she gets out and disappears through Forsyth Park, presumably to find her car. Leaving Artem perhaps the drive to Elysium to process all of that, if he processes that at all. Can we fade out?
Elysium we go.
Can we fade out on that? Great. Now, who would be the first to arrive? Artem would be last. I think Poppy was the first to get up and go.
I would probably have to spend a few hours at work first. Would I?
I'm going to hand wave that away for tonight.
Okay.
It seems like you were doing like a solid 6-day run of that, so let's just have some time off. So, Poppy, you are driving once again Clarice's rolls.
Yes.
Now, she's not as trussed up in extravagance as she was the last time you drove her there, but it is still a very nice frock coat, high collar with lace lapels. Hair done up like in little pins. Did you manage to find something that would be more in line with making a scene? Yeah?
I think so. Poppy found this kind of plunging red, satiny, sequined shirt with matching red satin pants that are like high waisted. She's gonna go like full red, all the same tone, the kind of crimson, and she's gonna find some red heels to wear with like a nice little neckerchief.
Almost Like goth rockabilly?
A little bit, but like shinier, like a little like sleeker. That kind of billowy silk fabric kind of makes her look soft and sharp at the same time.
Hmm. I think the expression is soft as nails.
Yes,
There
very
we
good.
go. Or what's all that hard, glossy armor?
Also apt.
Mm.
Yeah.
So let me find my notes. Wormslow is quieter as you arrive, but by no means is it empty. You do see an array of parked cars, though not nearly as dense as you saw on your first night. Some vehicles you might recognize, though you may not necessarily connect them to a specific person. Yet you do not get the impression that an event is taking place, merely the natural ebb and flow of where the kindred of the county congregate. So, to put something on the table for everyone here, I do have a series of definite scenes and vignettes planned, but I'm allowing for that to change based on if you are looking for someone that maybe I had not planned for, or an idea strikes that is a very good one I just had not considered. So we will play it by ear. Granted, some of this will have to bleed into next week as a result, but let's get into this properly. Now, as always, you are greeted by Bruno. Very kindly waves you in unless you decide to harass him.
I'll just say, evening, Bruno. You look sharp this evening.
Thank you, Miss Stewart. He gives a much more, how do I, not extravagant, but much more dignified nod to Clarice. While he very often gets the door for people who walk in, with her it is, I wouldn't say performative, more a case of status has required him to not only open the door, but like gently like offer his arm. Completely unnecessary gesture to escort her over the threshold that way, but it's just seems an expectation. And you had caught him do that before, but it seems to be now a pattern of it, not just a one-off. Either status, familiarity, or something else. She is quickly also greeted by the keeper, Atherton. All very charming and very pleasant. All the same pleasantries are extended to you.
Poppy will be very smiley and happy to see him.
And after the pleasantries are traded, he leaves you to your devices and you are able to walk through the house. Now, while you do have a task to get to, or at least a meeting, is there anything in particular that you want to be looking for?
She might just kind of glance around if she happens to see either Rally anywhere or Olivia. She'll just clock and just make a mental note. Because she had been thinking about checking in with DJ Rally and then also wanting to officially meet Olivia after Cora's mention of her vision dream.
Okay. Do you mind if I quickly change to the others just to filter them all in?
Go for it.
Okay. I believe the next to arrive would be Fulton. Yes, I have my timing wrong, but we'll go with it anyways. So you've gotten here and... Oop.
Hmm?
Fulton.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I was waiting for a prompting.
Okay. I was waiting to see if you had something, because never mind. You have pulled into the parking lot, and like with Poppy, it is not bustling. You are starting to recognize some cars. Some in particular you may recognize, like... Oh, actually, you wouldn't. I'm tipping my hand here. You would... No, because you saw his work car. I will let you know that Innsbruck is here. You wouldn't necessarily know that from his car, but eventually you'll see that. But specifically, you would recognize Belle's car. Not necessarily where she is, but you at least know that she is, in fact, keeping her word and will be meeting you exactly where she said she would. Again, you see Bruno. Unlike the Toreador, do you try and give him shit, or...
No, I generally just nod at him.
Okay. Very perfunctory. Atherton is, of course, quick to greet you. Not necessarily at the door, but within a few moments of you walking through the halls, you do find him. You get the impression that even if he doesn't meet someone at the door, he knows somehow that someone has entered, and he always makes a point to show himself, making sure that everyone has everything they need.
I'll ask if he knows which direction Belle went.
Ah, I do believe she went upstairs.
Thank you.
I found one of the more cloistered parlors overlooking the water.
Wait, did you say look in the water?
Overlooking the water.
Oh, overlooking.
Haven't
Makes
done
more
the
sense.
accent in a while. More water for that.
I'll go ahead and head upstairs to find her.
Okay. Before I get to that, I am just going to filter in the others as well. Cora. Did you take any detours on your way here?
Make any pit stops. Oh, well, if I can find such a place as a, like, 24-hour parcel acceptance sort of place, I'm considering now that it might be good, considering I wake up at night. I don't want things to be lingering on my porch all day. And that maybe I should use some of this little bit of remaining seed money that I brought with me from home to purchase a little box at a place like this.
I'd say
And
you
if
have to go
not,
into
then
the
I'm going to
city.
have to get some help with somebody to get such a thing. Someone who has a ghoul who can open one in my name.
You'd have to go into the city. Rather, more into the core of the city.
Mm.
And you will be able to find one of those combination sort of P.O. box and self-storage places.
Okay.
It does take a little bit of time to process this because they're used to doing this during the day, and it's not necessarily this person's job.
Yes. I have night shift. What can I say? I'm going to need to open an account, so hopefully we'll be able to walk through it together.
It does take a little bit of time to filter through it, but easily done. It takes a little time, but it's fine.
Okay.
You may want to send your new PO box though to your friends overseas,
Oh yes. She
just in case they don't
absolutely
start
does
sending you more things in their ever increasingly German practicality.
Yes. She'll say that she loves the gifts that she received. And for future parcels, they can use this address.
Okay. And eventually, you as well arrive at Elysium,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to ask the question: do you fuck with Bruno, or do you let it go?
Well, she's determined that Bruno just speaks English at this point, or at least not Italian. Um, so I think what she'll do instead is, Bruno, do you ever get bored guarding this door?
Ms. Violante?
Okay, well, inscrutable as always.
And yeah, he's doing the Guard of London thing at the moment. I want to point out the contrast of him escorting Clarice Fairchild over the threshold of the front door and giving you this functionary half grunt.
I'm gonna find out something that he likes, and I'm gonna do it or give it to him.
Nathan Fillion GIF activated. I'm assuming you head in after this display.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I know your 2 meetings.
Hmm.
Do you have anything that you're going to try and do here first, just so I can have a mental map going?
Other than kind of just say hi to the rest of the not coterie,
Mhm.
I want to see a man about a dry cleaner. So if Innsbruck is here, I want to talk to him, just real quick.
Okay. So I'm gonna put a pin in that, so I know that's what something you want to do.
Mhm.
Just want to get everyone in the building first. Speaking of which, let's go to Ellie.
Hi.
Now, I have a different question for you.
Oh.
Because while everyone else is fucked with Bruno, you have maybe inadvertently fucked with Julius at the gate.
Oh, right.
So there is a little bit of scrutiny as you in particular roll on up. Do you fuck around or do you keep your nose clean and just try and get through this?
I just wave a friendly hello, which looks a little weird with the extended fingers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, hi, Julius.
Just smile and wave, boys, smile and wave.
Yeah.
He's going to sort of just open his collar and just sort of whisper into his mic. Please proceed and pull over 20 feet past the gate. They'll just be doing a routine search.
Selected for random screening.
I'd like to point out another contrast in that Cora has yet to have such screenings despite the
the
earlier
nos
mishap.
in the trunk.
Hey, her fancy car is expected to have NOS in it. Yours is not.
Ellie pulls over and is like, And it just says, "Am I expected to exit?"
If you would.
This is just for safety. I imagine maybe having the mask on would be
You
good
are
for
well
safety, or am I
within
okay?
Elysium grounds at this point.
I wasn't sure how
Yeah.
safety on that. So okay, so Ellie will exit the car, and I guess like scroll through their phone to be like keeping themselves busy while they look through the car.
Checking the Wordle. Got it.
Yeah, probably doing a move on their game with Lump. And I will note for the storyteller that Ellie did not bring a weapon in the vehicle this time, and learned their lesson.
Good. They take maybe a little longer than they need to, being a little extra thorough, but they're not trashing it. They're not just grabbing things, throwing it aside. They are just being thorough, maybe a little slow. Just a means of wasting your time as a very sly way of teaching a small lesson. For causing the drama, wasting people's time, we're going to waste yours. That sort of thing. Maybe this won't be happening every time, but they eventually step aside and goes, well, your compliance and cooperation is appreciated.
Thanks. I'm beyond excited for our next meeting.
He's going to lean in. I wouldn't.
Ellie's like fake smile turns into like a little bit of a grimace as they enter their vehicle again.
Drive safe.
Oh, I will.
And they give that little just pat on the side of the van as if to go, you're clear.
Ellie drives over.
Let's cycle back to Poppy. You were looking for Raleigh, you were looking for Titus at one point. Let's get your initial meeting off the ground first.
Great.
You find a pale, almost porcelain-skinned woman with artificially red hair. Kind of looks like they took the eyedropper for the hex code for red. Done up in a very expert bun. I forget, have you met Innsbruck? You know who he is?
I think I know of him, but I don't think I've met him personally.
Okay. That is who she is presently talking with, and it's in a very familiar, friendly manner. The kind where you can see her just fussing with one of his lapels. Very intense eye contact. But him being just a little bit taller, you see his eyes flick from hers over her head to clock you and Clarice walking in. And it feels very much like the rolling eye of a predator.
Poppy tries to hold her composure in the moment.
And his shift in demeanor, not the steps of you, is what prompts Tylene Verhoeven to turn around. There is a elegant severity at first, but it softens at Clarice. The two greet each other, that little dainty touch of hands. Tylene, I'd like for you to meet our little Poppy. She's quite interested in what sort of trouble she could get into at SCAD. Oh, this is the one.
It's great to meet you.
And she holds out her hand, and it's at first that little daintiness, but it does lead into a real proper handshake.
She'll
Maybe
shake your
perhaps
hand.
more to fake you out a little bit to see how you react to it.
She'll go in for a full handshake.
Mm-hmm. And he leans in at first to whisper something to her, and she goes, I'll see you later. He nods curtly to you and excuses himself. And as he leaves that part of the scene, Corey, you said you were looking for him?
It was indeed.
Okay. So we're going to have you two sort of gravitate towards each other.
Okay, perfect.
I'm going to let her finish this first. And is it all right if I leave the two of you alone?
Oh, certainly.
She gives a little polite nod to Tylene, who gives a little bit more of a slightly deferential nod. It definitely goes a little bit lower than maybe you would expect. And as she meanders out of your immediate proximity, you find her gravitating towards where the prince is. Who is not occupying his chair as much as the area around it. Instead of sitting on the chair, he's sitting almost on the little riser that leads up to it, as if trying to maintain some sort of casual regality. But he rises to greet her. But before you get any more of that, your attention goes back to the present. At least I would hope.
Yes. Though Poppy does kind of clock in her mind. She's like, wow, she's kind of royal, Clarice. Not in the princely way, of course, but the amount of deference is noted.
Yeah. If we were to put this into statistical analysis, she would have 5 or 6 dots on her status sheet.
Yes,
Mm.
yes. Mm-hmm.
So. Now, she told me a little bit about you. I've heard a little bit from Nico.
Oh, great.
Oh, don't be like that. With me, Nico goes a little bit of a further way than he would with most.
That makes sense.
But I don't like to rely on hearsay. Tell me about you. You want something to do with SCAD? I need to know what that is so that I can decide where you would best fit.
I think that may be my question in the first place of where do I fit at SCAD. My experience is in sculptural artistic installation and performance art. And I only have gotten to look around the area a little bit. Last night, I got to look around down, is it River Street? Riverfront? What is it called?
River Street.
River Street. I walked down River Street and got to look at some of the buildings there, and I think I'm still trying to figure out where I fit here. Though I am in process, and maybe this is something you might have an expert opinion on, in process of working with Titus on an installation piece at his racetrack. So I'm trying to kind of gather people who know a lot about a lot to maybe put on some sort of event there. That would be really exciting.
Hmm. Oh, you're are you trying to sculpt something? You're trying to build something? What's the
It's a bit of a combination of things. It's more like a happening. Poppy like hears herself and goes, "Oh my god." Uh, it's like a happening, an event, kind of an immersive theater piece. Um, that
you
kind
you
of has
say
a
happening? Sorry, I had to interrupt, and I
yeah.
hear a chorus of clicks.
Yes, bongos,
Mm.
berets. Um,
Sit-ins. Got it.
yeah. But that's kind of what she's going for.
Mhm.
But yeah, an immersive theatrical, almost club space, like a party, a place of community for people like us. I think it could be really fun.
Hmm. What exactly is your background?
I come from Connecticut. I studied art up there at UConn, and well, I made my way down here. Question for you,
Mhm.
out of character. When she says background, does Poppy clock what she means by background specifically?
We're gonna go with your artist background. Like,
Artist background.
what's your focus? What's your um, medium? What's your what kind of work do you want to do?
Right. Um, okay, in that case, it's the designing of spaces, of experiences, of things that people can walk into and have their own personal experience inside of. My senior thesis project involved almost a sharp nest creation in one of our buildings. And it took a really a long time to set up, but it was written up in the papers. It went very well. But my goal is to instill a kind of poetry, a kind of emotion in people that experience spaces and what spaces can mean to someone.
So what I'm hearing is that you're an actual artist, not just a poser.
I try not to be a poser. I mean, I'm sure I've done things that are poser worthy.
Well, the self-awareness will get you far. We definitely have had a few. She's going to lean in a little more conspiratorially. A few dear rosebuds that I think should have died on the vine.
Ah, tragic.
For all of us. But I don't quite know what we could offer you at the top of my head, but
Honestly, just meeting people like yourself, I think will,
hmm,
I don't know. It's nice to always bounce ideas off of people, smart people.
if I were to offer you a bit of advice,
Of course.
have you met a Lachlan Montrose yet?
I haven't. I haven't even heard his name. Lachlan Montrose.
He likes to scoop up potentials at SCAD,
Okay.
use them for his own work, and move on.
I see.
Now he does try to make use of younger Toreador, but the thorn isn't quite worth the beauty on that one.
I see. Just for Helena's own social awareness. Is
Mhm.
she saying the thorn being him, he's not worth working with or trying to ally yourself with because he
As
uses
in,
people?
he is a rose.
Hmm.
The thorns are more of a problem than it's not worth the beauty to deal with it. Like, oh, it's pretty. I'm gonna get stabbed by it.
Got it. Got it. Great. Okay.
He does some wonderful work, but best to stay out of his orbit.
Thank you so much for letting me know. Yeah. I hadn't even heard his name, if that makes a difference.
Oh, I'm sure you may have seen him around from time to time without realizing. He does like
Potentially.
to frequent here.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll keep an eye out. I still may introduce myself just so that I know who he is.
Of course, good to be aware.
Now, what is it that you do? What is your role at SCAD? And are you an artist yourself?
Oh, I suppose, in a retired sense. I was in the modeling industry, but when your looks don't fade, it tends to draw the wrong kind of attention.
Fair.
So now it's more about cultivating the next generation of talent.
That's incredible. Wow, I find that so honorable.
Now, perhaps we can find. You probably need workspace, don't you?
Oh, I would die for a studio space.
Well, that is at a bit of a premium, you would understand.
Yeah, that. Yes, of course it is.
But after hours, we'll see what we can do. Now, but since you are doing something for Titus, I'm assuming you have one of his garages to do some work in.
That is the idea. We're still a little bit in the kind of blueprint phase. I've talked with DJ Raleigh for the audio side of the piece, and I think I'm just gonna we'll go from there. But yes, I've given blueprints to Titus. We still need to kind of hammer out the details.
Have you met Harlan?
Yes, I know of Harlan. We didn't speak very much. We met at Chuck's bar, I think briefly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
He tends to work with metal as his medium.
Oh, great. Sculptural, functional.
Well, at this point, whatever he gets roped into. But
Ah,
perhaps you could make use of him.
I'll lasso him in.
Oh, he might like that. But, I'll have to keep an eye out for where we could find greater utility for you on campus. And she tends to look you over a little bit. She actually kind of gives you that little, like, give us a spin.
Poppy will. She's nervous and excited about the outfit.
Okay. Let's turn this into a roll.
Oh, God. Roll for fashion.
What is more important in Vampire than fashion stakes? Now, what would be the correct thing for this? Let's go with appearance.
Mm-hmm. Oh, if only I were Artem, I would have so many dots in appearance.
We can't all be me.
It must be hard to be that pretty.
It is.
Man, I'm pretty.
I feel like every reflection he sees handsome Squidward.
Oh my gosh. Ugh.
Now, let's see what would be the most appropriate ability to roll with this. I want to say
No
crafts, but
idea.
we need to actually fix your sheet. I'm remembering now.
Oh, do we?
Yes, because you were supposed to have something in crafts, but we.
Oh, you are right.
Do you have
You are
anything in
right.
performance?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's do that.
Okay.
Just gonna go with a 6.
6. Alright. We have.
God, if you botch this in the middle of Elysium,
Mm-hmm.
Why'd you have to say that?
Why'd you say that, Graham?
Did you
So
use the willpower?
the I didn't. Can I now or no? It's too late. Okay, so what
you know
had
what?
happened?
Here's what I'm going to allow because I have been telling everyone else, do you want to use willpower before I'm getting them to roll?
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
this one would be on me to have you
Okay.
use one now. It's not going to be a thing I allow people to do retroactively all the time
Okay. Okay.
but it's been the pattern tonight of me telling people, do you want to use it now?
Right.
But I didn't do it with you, so this is trying to keep things fair.
Thanks, Graham. Even though I was rolling 6 dice. Okay, cool. Okay, that's way better. Okay. That gets rid of my.
So are you re-rolling or
Do I reroll for willpower?
no? Willpower just gives you one auto success.
One auto success. Oh, okay. Great. In that case, I will nix that dice that I just rolled. My bad.
Yeah.
I apologize. Great. So that is 2 successes. I rolled literally 3 ones.
What,
And a 2.
what if you
And then I got
spend
2
blood
successes.
as well?
I don't know. Like, do I want? The thing is, like, part of me,
It
right,
wouldn't. It
is
wouldn't have.
going
It wouldn't matter if you were to spend blood.
right because then I would still have
It
to.
only affects the physicals, not
Yeah.
the other stuff.
Yep. So that's
Willpower dice don't like get nixed, do they?
No,
Okay, so
not
this
getting
is at
dice.
least okay.
It's just
yeah,
a
but it's
success.
still
Mhm.
yeah.
She will. How do I rule this now? The outfit is impressive. It's very well put together. Your form, however, I take it you're more create the art rather than adorn yourself with the art.
You caught me, she says, sweating maybe a little bit.
If she would be sweating, she would literally be sweating blood.
I know she's maybe not sweating. I don't
Okay.
know. That'd be bad.
But somehow she'd managed to find a way to go paler.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you caught me. Usually well, to be honest, I had someone dressing me for the past couple of years, so still trying to get used to being my own stylist.
At that, her expression softens a little bit. Ah. I think you and I could have some much longer talks then.
Oh, sure. I mean, I could clearly use advice from you. You look stunning.
Very kind. We should find time to speak more privately.
Sure. Would you like my number?
I think it's a good time to fade out on you exchanging numbers. So if you go to our private Discord, you can find the actual spelling of her name in the Toreador subsection.
Thanks.
Now, is everyone okay going a little bit late, or does anybody have to be up really early tomorrow? more so looking at Sam's because he's the one running the production side of things. All good? Okay.
It's only 9 p.m. for me, baby. Let's keep going.
Well, since you spoke up, let's go to you.
Well, it's
You
not that late for anybody else, or I mean, it's later for everyone else. So
Mhm.
if they need to go first, that's okay.
So, were you beelining for Innsbruck?
Well, if he's there, then sure, absolutely.
He seems to be exiting a conversation, and you do see Poppy in the proximity of where he just left. He doesn't seem to be going anywhere as much as leaving somewhere.
Okay. Well, so not to mess with the time stream,
Mm.
won't do anything with Poppy. And I will go talk to Innsbruck.
How do you engage this?
I'll just stride on over and put my hand out and say, "Yeah, Mr. Innsbruck," because we know each other already. We've
Mhm.
spoken a little bit, so
I don't think he gave you a card, but he did give you his introduction and spiel, I believe.
sure, exactly.
Ah, Ms. Violante, correct? And he does shake your hand.
Yes, you remembered. Um, I had a bit of a small question for you. Cora will take the little like a gym bag that she's been carrying with her and unzip it with this cream blazer folded inside. To go, look, I've dealt with marks like this before, but this is dry clean only, and I'm not sure whether or not it's going to be like a recurring thing. So I think maybe I'm going to need a discreet dry cleaner. Is that somebody you could point me to?
For a small price.
Hmm.
How did that happen?
Oh, this one. Well, um, you were there, right? It's day one. I haven't been able to wear it since.
I see. I didn't realize you were that close to the splash zone.
Well, our dear sheriff made quite an impression, so.
Usually an impression, the floor, the wall,
Yes, and Miss
the
Fulton
ceiling.
and Poppy and me.
Ah, well, I hope the lesson was well learned in the process.
Yes, believe me. I'm going to have an opportunity to show it later, so.
Ah, well, considering this isn't especially your fault, as much as innocent, well-meaning bystander, yes?
I like to think so.
I can give you a number, and they are discreet. They're people that work for me. When you go there, you tell them that I sent you. No further questions will be asked beyond when do you need this by.
All right, that's fantastic. So you said there's a small price involved. Is this the
Yes, it
sort of
was just the
thing?
information that I'd just like to know.
Oh, all right.
This time.
Sure. So, if I need to use the cleaners again,
Well, why don't we deal with that when it happens?
all right, I'll just try to keep my suit clean.
Well, that's more on you, literally.
Mm. Let's hope not.
Was there anything else I could help you with this evening?
No, I don't believe so. How's work?
I feel like somewhere in the background, Fulton's ears are burning and doesn't quite know why. Though at this point, she may be looking over and seeing Innsbruck and Cora speaking.
I wouldn't mind intrusion on the conversation if that were the case.
I think she's hard and open.
Kate is not trying to talk to him until she talks to Belle.
Fair. Well, it has been, I wouldn't say quiet, but uneventful. Most we can hope for.
Good, yes. I imagine that's a positive thing.
But beyond that, I of course cannot get into any specifics.
Nor would I ask for them. Oh, okay, well, that's a little bit of a lie. I tend to ask people all kinds of questions.
Like what?
I don't know. It's just sort of comes with how I am. I just like to know things.
Knowing things is good. Usually is what keeps you alive. But knowing when to ask the question and when not to, that's the discipline.
Yes, well, before coming here, people liked when I asked a lot of questions that make them feel important.
You'll find that's true everywhere. It'll serve you well. But just be careful which questions you ask.
Of course.
And the temperament of those you're asking.
Oh, speaking of, do you know, does Bruno work for the house or Atherton or the prince or does he work for the sheriff? Like, how does that...
Security for Elysium works for the keeper of Elysium.
Okay.
I take it you haven't been to many or any.
Is word getting around?
Don't take this the wrong way, but ignorance betrays everyone.
Yes, well, I'm still pretty young, and my sire just wanted to ease me into things.
And did you leave your sire or were you sent away?
Ooh. Well, I'd like to think that we developed a pretty fair plan for me to come and get a nice little start on my own, spread my wings a little, you know.
Are you trying to say this was a mutually planned exit?
I think we both knew it had to happen at some point. So, but Frankfurt will always be home for me, I think.
No. I don't want to see you leave Savannah too soon, but I do hope you make it home at some point.
I'd like that too. I think I'm needing to get used to the sort of time scales that we operate on. I could be here for some time.
Well, I find jet lag rarely bothers us.
Just so.
The sun has a rather unique way of enforcing a sleeping pattern.
It does indeed. Cora's gonna kind of like flex her hand when he says that.
Mm-hmm. Whether he notices, you do not know.
Mhm.
And even if he does, you don't know what his takeaway is.
Yeah, I mean that wasn't like
For all he might
performative on her
know,
part, but she wasn't trying to hide it either, you know. It's
Yeah.
just
if he does notice, there's two things that he could immediately take away. It's either the social nervousness, especially of a fresh-faced neonate in
mhm.
an unfamiliar city, or just a twitchy Malkavian, or both.
Right.
Both are good.
Well, I have 2 appointments tonight, but
Oh,
otherwise,
well.
just time to kill and until then. So
If I can make one suggestion,
sure.
perhaps leave the bag with your bloody jacket in the car.
Mm. Yes, I'll pop back out and set it in there.
It's rare, but there are occasions where someone is a bit too hungry when they've come to Elysium. They might be oversensitive to the dried droplets. I've seen a frenzy or two happen because of it.
Even the dry ones.
Well, when you're hungry enough.
Right.
Not the first kindred that's ever been killed in these halls.
No.
Good luck with your other meetings tonight, Miss Violante.
Thank you, Mr. Innsbruck. That opened a bunch of additional questions for Cora, but she's just going to go ahead and conclude the conversation since he's indicated as such.
And if we can, we're going to shuffle on over to Fulton. Now, before you get to Bell, was there someone that you were looking for? I'm trying to remember now. Just straight to the upstairs.
For a very, very keen eye, almost an avoidance of Innsbruck, but I think it would take someone intensely keen to pick that up.
I'm going to roll something very quickly.
Whether Vega notices.
And Vega notices.
I can confirm nor deny any such potential truth fact. Fun theory. Great theory. But who knows? Carrying on. Now, this little parlor is one of the few that actually has windows. It's a little cozier. Almost like it's more like a larger reading nook. Still couches and chairs, but more dark woods. More rustic, as if to help blend in to the more rustic backdrop you can see outside the window. And there's Belle, who is sitting actually with Lump. And in a way that isn't ignoring each other, but she is looking out the window while Lump is rather avidly diving through a crossword.
I don't think I've met Lump.
Well, now you have. But your takeaway from this should be companionable silence. Or the other way of putting it I've heard is together alone. Which might be a bit of a rarity among kindred, especially across clan lines. But as he is obviously Nosferatu, and she is, well, you know, Malkavian, there might be a certain amount of camaraderie among clans that tend to be ostracized, isolated. Or maybe it's just unique to them. Do you say anything or do you wait for one of them to acknowledge?
I'll wait.
Okay. Lump is the first to look up, and the shift is what draws Belle's attention away from gazing out into the night on the surrounding water and swamplands. Oh, hi. She sits up a little straighter. And compared to how you've seen her before, she's dressed a little more conservatively. There doesn't seem to be the hint of potential luridness hidden behind a frock coat. It's a simple, just jeans, almost riding boots, kind of cut off just under the knee, and simple blouse. It's elegant yet casual at the same time. Lump, on the other hand, their face doesn't really betray any kind of emotion. It's like a mask of a face over a face. It's not, doesn't seem to connect to enough nerve endings or muscles to react or move in a meaningful manner. And the Nosferatu seems to be a bit uncomfortable. He can't see it in the face, but they are shifting body language. They nod to Belle, who gives him a very polite smile before Lump gets up and gives a uncertain nod in your direction before they slip on past you.
I'll give a polite nod back.
She will indicate for you to take a seat. Don't take any offense. They're not as, well, the two of us have something in common, I suppose.
None taken.
Assuming you sit down.
Hmm.
Okay. She'll readjust so she's properly facing you rather than angled herself towards the window. How are you?
Been better. And I don't know how observant Belle is, but I think there's a difference in Kate with good posture and like this rigidity she's got trying to over the years she's not let herself fidget with nervousness. It's like adding bricks to that wall. And that's kind of where she's at right now. I think seeing someone else there initially threw her off, even if Lump did leave quickly.
Was Kate basically already putting, or rather taking the barriers down a little bit, like on the walk to Belle, expecting just to find Belle?
Mm-hmm.
So now it's just a scramble to try and build the wall back up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I would say that she would clue into that. As someone that is more keen to listen and observe. Almost a professional people watcher. Yeah. Now I know that you wanted to talk about it, but now that you're here.
I worked with Innsbruck the other night.
She'll scoot in a little further so that you can speak a little quieter if you want to try and find some way to rein back in a sense of privacy that maybe was taken away by Lum simply being there a moment ago. But she otherwise doesn't say anything. She's letting you just talk.
It was intense. I don't know what I expected, but in a way, what we did that night, it had to have been a relief for the family. I could not do that again.
Without knowing specifics, what I do know is it takes a very special fortitude to do what he does.
And I pride myself so well on keeping it together always that when I couldn't let go of that facade. For some reason, maybe it's because I made an ass of myself when I first met you. I think I can let some of that go talking to you.
You have noticed when she is trying to speak that there is almost a bit of a lag time, as if she is trying to order thoughts, filter them, reorder them, then put them onto a timeline in her head for it to almost read out, so that it at least comes out vaguely coherent and considered. I suppose we both saw each other defrocked. May I ask, did he ask you to make a decision?
You did.
So you've already made it.
I have, but I haven't told him yet. I knew instantly, but I didn't want to. I wanted to give him the appearance of mulling it over. I didn't want to come across as hasty.
Is that the reason? Or are you afraid you will be perceived as weak, despite decisively saying what you want and don't want?
There is that too.
Hmm. She's going to reach and just sort of pat your hand very gently for a moment. You can't control what his perception will be, but you are delaying an answer you've already decided on. You are dreading it, but you've already made it. No point in torturing yourself. You've already done it. Now do it.
I guess when you put it that way.
Or don't.
I'm trying to get out of this conversation so quickly.
No. I just don't dread the conversation or where it's heading.
Something I need to work on. Got very good at keeping all the plates spinning really well. I don't have any control here, which is why I was sent here. It's tough to let go.
She's trying hard to hide a very small laugh. And I don't know if you've ever met anyone like this who they'll have a conversation in their head before they say something to you, and you've missed 3 paragraphs of whatever they were trying to say. There was a whole joke or a whole image in their head that they're having to themselves right now. She has to slow it down as she's just about to speak, but she realizes the habit. Smash your plates, Kate.
It's really hard to let go.
No, it's not. You just have to stop. Stopping is the easiest thing in the world.
I don't know science, but I agree with you. Something about an object in motion. And that Kate will let a little half laugh.
I'm trying not to bring Laertes into this conversation because it's a fundamentally flawed statement, but we'll leave thermodynamics in another campaign. Hold up your hands.
You get one hand tonight.
Yeah. All the weight in the world is balancing on your hands, Atlas. And she just reaches out, grabs your hand to hold it still. Or grab the wrist to hold it still. Let the plates fall. Let others deal with the mess. Find the meal you want.
Sorry, I missed. Find the what I want?
Find the meal that you want.
Okay.
And she'll let go. Trying to give you the image of literally spinning plates. Trying to incept the imagery of all the plates falling down around you, clattering, shattering. And hopefully the realization that they're not your fucking plates. You didn't put them there.
Well, I hope you're happy knowing this scares the shit out of me. But thank you.
It's at that point that she's run out of tarmac for coming up with things to say. Whatever prescient she was applying to lay down the timeline of words that she would use for this, she doesn't know what to say to that. Either unexpected or it frazzled her concept of a script. She just gives you a very polite but warm smile and just gives you a little pat on the knee. Is there anything else you'd like to try and bring up with her? Or do you want to sit in companionable
No.
silence for a bit?
Yeah, I'll just try some companionable silence.
Okay. One thing
And
she'll
moving
do.
forward in the future, I will have to speak to Innsbruck now that we're at Elysium together.
Mm-hmm.
But that's for later.
Well, he is free at the moment, but Belle will try and direct your attention out the window. Not to anything in particular, but just the calm, dark serenity of it all. Whether or not you find that serenity in it is up to you. Or if you're just stuck staring at your own reflection.
I think it starts there because the thought of all the plates shattering really does scare her.
Mm-hmm.
But she is trying to very slowly, even if it's like when you clench up all your muscles and you slowly relax them one at a time, to like, she's mentally doing that.
See how far she gets with that exercise.
It might take a couple of restarts.
Now let's get to Ellie. Sorry, assuming you didn't have anything else there. Okay. Let me make sure I read that correctly. After you've been randomly selected for a security screening, random, yep. You've been profiled on the fact that you were an ass last time, so
I reported it, the thing would have been worse if they found it without me being
yes,
aware.
but perhaps now you'll know not to do it ever. No more carelessness. So, you're wandering into Elysium. You are starting to see some of the, well, not your coterie, but a potential coterie forming. Which I'm assuming Ellie may feel some ways about.
Well, I don't know that it's happening technically.
No. But that is fun. Now, who are you here to see?
Well, I was looking around for Petra.
Mm-hmm.
She said she would be here.
You see a hauntingly emaciated coat rack of a dress sashaying up the stairs. One skeletal hand pinching up one side of it elegantly. The ruined, emaciated face cranes over the shoulder in her 60s, 70s style blonde wig, perfectly kept, bobbing in place as though natural. She looks at you, turns her head back in the desired direction, and continues up the stairs.
I walk up to her and offer my arm to assist her up the stairs.
Oh, so you're kind of beelining a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Atherton notices, but not in a no running next to the pool sort of situation. But you are noticed, like, what's that? Oh, okay, that's nothing. I'm assuming you link arms.
Yes. And there you go. A lovely evening tonight.
Oh, well, it is just starting, but I'm hoping you've brought me something fun to, in one form or another, devour.
Have you heard anything fun on the news?
Now, what could you possibly be talking about, dearie?
Well, apparently there were a bunch of news conferences yesterday. I didn't know if you heard any about. I don't know if you were on the pulse of politics, local politics.
She smiles, but in a way that creases the eyes in an unnatural way. You've seen that smiles that don't reach the eyes and those seem more natural. This seems strangely worse. She leads you along the upper part of the house until you are the overlook that leads down into the main hall, where you can see the prints. You can see one or two of the new bloods. Not all of them, but some. She turns and leans her back hands against the railing, almost sort of dramatically flared out. Dress seeming to fall in a pristine waterfall of fabric. Go on. Tell me what happened.
Well, I was trying to have a bit of a arrangement with a politician in exchange for some information withheld. He refused to follow my simple instructions twice. So I ruined his career.
Now I want you to be more honest with me. Did you ruin his career? Or did you ruin his life?
I suppose technically it depends on what his two families do with the fallout.
At that, she gives this little, like, giggling clap. It's not quite a car, but you blew something up, it seems.
One of them he said I need to spend some time with my family, and then one of the reporters said which family, and the whole newsroom went wild.
Oh, Ellie, you're vicious.
Listen, if he didn't want that to happen, I gave very simple instructions.
Of course. Blackmail is such an ugly word. We prefer extortion.
Extortion also works.
Mm.
Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
I also have a lesson with Ava Lash tomorrow after our meeting, and I was also wondering if I wanted to make sure I'm learning from the best around for still upping the social game, because being able to ruin a non-kindred's life is super simple, but being able to talk to others is still not quite my strong suit.
Are you being truthful when you say to her best around, or are you really just trying to fluff her skirts?
So
Ooh, the qualifying's already starting.
the primary thing is indeed fluffer skirts. I will say from Ellie's perspective, the best Nosferatu around certainly to assist.
So it's a truth, but not a whole truth.
Yes.
Okay. But you went to her. Are you trying to play both sides? Oh dear, I do believe I have caught you in a bit of a pause, haven't I?
Above the table,
Mhm.
I think Ellie honestly did not believe that getting lessons from two different folks was playing two sides.
It's not, she's just trying to rattle the cage.
Yeah, okay. So Ellie's kind of like, I think at that point Ellie's very honest and going, two sides. I just thought I wanted to get as many teachers as possible to get
Come here, dearie.
what I needed.
I shouldn't be able to press you so easily.
Yep. Lesson learned. First lesson learned. Got it.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'm using the kitty gloves. Do you think Ava is?
No, it looked like they were definitely a different fabric.
She's more of a fisting on the first date kind of gal, really.
Ellie tries to hide the clenching that is currently occurring right now.
Do you need to go check on? Never mind.
I was just unprepared for that phrase so suddenly. So
Are
suddenly.
most of Ava Lash's dates.
Oh my lord.
Well, have you figured out your approach yet?
Well, I did make sure to go shopping for clothing that would looks down at their sweater is not this and is nicer. So I started with that. And that was step 1 of a step 5 plan that I still have to figure out. Okay, so as I said before, I'm much better at plotting the downfall of everyone else than planning social engagements.
Well, that much is evident, but we need to break you in before she does.
I don't know if that was heard, but audible gulp.
No, I heard it.
Okay, good.
I think there are people in different streams that heard it, but I'm actually going to up that particular ante. Do you want to do something very brave?
Sure.
She's going to... Now, remember, she's all very spindly, despite the lacquering of refinement. And all those... She has normal proportions, but the emaciation just makes all her limbs seem that much longer than they actually are. It makes every bend, every twist, every motion telegraphed in uncomfortable ways. And she almost swirls around you, fingertips on shoulders, as she leans over to whisper in your ear. She peers your gaze over the railing towards the dais, where the prince has taken his seat. Go be brave. And I think on that note is where we're going to end tonight.
Nice.
Oh no. Oh.
That's what
Oh,
Sam will
dear.
keep screaming.
Oh no.
Sam, you can't keep cycling through characters like this.
I know. Do you have a
Wow.
backup
And-
character again? Or
At this point,
Also, Ellie, I
use
don't
the-
know if we're ready for Ava Lash.
We
No,
need a
we're
Tremere
not.
next time. Tremere.
Tremere next time? Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I feel like maybe Ava's fisting is preferable currently.
Yeah, probably.
She's going to wear you like a watch.
Ellie the Muppet. That actually kind of works. I'm just saying.
But yes, join us tomorrow night for probably less salacious items on Age of Innovation. It is Aaron,
Yeah, they're
so
less fun.
yeah. He'll do body horror, but he won't do that.
No. And if it happens, it is completely accidental. He'll go be red.
Yep.
But I won't do that.
Thanks
Brought
everyone
to
for
you
joining
by the
tonight.
letter O, as in oh no.
Oh, the safe word is. Good night, folks.